Welcome, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Patrons in particular, but hey, if you are checking this out on YouTube, we are so pleased that you have bothered to click on two random dudes who are going to talk crap for the next half an hour, give or take, if you don't know us. But if you do know us, I'm Paul.
I'm Wayne.
And we are from the Countdown podcast, and our patrons have asked us anything. It's been a while since we've done this one. I want to apologise to all the patrons for the lengthy wait between this, but it has resulted in a shit ton of questions.
That's right.
We're going to work our way through here one at a time, and we're going to try and answer all of them, even the people who generously gave us even more than 3 questions, Nicole Presley. And so we're very much looking forward to hoping to entertain you for a little bit of time here so you can learn a little bit about us and the show and some of what makes us tick.
Most deaf.
All right, we're going to kick it off then straight into it because why would we wait any longer? Timothy Williams. Wayne, what's the shittiest Christmas gift you have ever received?
Well, here's the thing. Every time I get a gift from anyone, no matter what the gift is, I'm very appreciative that someone gave me a gift.
That's true.
So it is a tough one to go with.
Who'd have thought Wayne would come across as the reasonable, nice person so early in the video?
Yeah, I can't actually think of a shitty gift other than, let's see. No, anytime someone gave it to me, I'm always just gracious and like kind of happy about it. Do you have a particular one that you didn't like?
That's because you don't have my mum. My mother, love her to pieces, lovely woman, bends over backwards for her children and her grandchildren. She's fantastic, yet she has missed the gene that allows you to have good taste in presents. So
Actually, my mum has that too. Go on.
She will think she's bought you the greatest gift in the history of the universe, and she will present it to you. And for at least the first 28, 30 years of my life, I'll be like, oh, it's great, Mum. Thanks. Yay. Thank you. That's amazing. You're a lovely, lovely individual. And then in my latter years, now it's just like, Mum, what is this?
Anyone in particular?
Well, there was one Christmas where she bought my brother and I Crocs.
Oh. Wait, I got some intel on this.
Okay.
When Crocs came out, you and I were like, this. Everyone we knew was like, you can't wear Crocs, okay? Now it's a thing.
Well,
people who are fashionable wear them.
I'm talking 11 years ago.
I know.
So,
but like, you know, it's a thing.
11 Christmases ago. And I know this because my brother and I both said to my mum, thank you so much. It's lovely. We really appreciate the present. Can we have the receipt? And we met a few days after Christmas and we exchanged our Crocs for something else. And I got home and my wife wasn't home for the doctors and she came home from the doctors very late. She said, I'm pregnant. And that's when... She wasn't my wife then. She was my girlfriend, and we'd been living together for 2 months, and we were 6 months along. So,
and she saw the Crocs, and she said, "I don't give a fuck. I'm leaving."
Well, she might have, but we got rid of them at that point in time. So that's how I remember that so well, because there was some meaningful shit going on in my life at that point.
Not bad.
In time. All right, Wayne. Timothy's second question was: which celebrity would you like to switch lives with for a week?
Now, thinking about this one, you might be tempted to say something like, I don't know. I'd like to know what it's like to be as handsome as Henry Cavill for a week. Maybe I'll switch with him. But the truth is, you can't do that because I don't believe his...
Yeah, you'd switch with Henry Cavill.
Well, here's the thing, right? You probably want to pick a celebrity that has a life that is so wild or interesting or funny or something that it was intense for 1 week and then you had to leave because you're like, this is not sustainable. I can't do it.
Right,
so maybe
some thought, clearly.
Right. So maybe someone like kind of Russell Brand in his heyday who was just doing...
Now, you can't be like doing this... Well, the question doesn't say you can go back in time to any point in time in a celebrity's life.
All right.
Right now, you wouldn't want to switch with Russell Brand. Let's be clear. I fucked up his answer here.
Yeah, you have fucked it up. Why don't you just give me yours while I think of something else?
All right, I'll let Wayne think. Well, I went, you know what? I really thought about this as you did as well.
Mm.
And I thought, you want to switch with a female celeb because you want to find out what that's like.
Hold up.
I would. I want to know what it's like to live like the other half.
You want to figure yourself. All right, go on.
For 1 week, wouldn't it be good to understand what it's like? Would this not be the Mel Gibson movie living out in real life? Now,
here's the problem. If you're having a really good week as a female, then there's a dick inside you. You happy with that memory, are you?
What I choose to do in that, well, because clearly this...
Because you're going to come
I have
back
to assume
being
it's
yourself.
consensual. Let's not get into the ethics of this whole thing.
No. You're obviously going to... Oh, you might refuse the dick as a female.
I might be like, well, you know, what's
But then would you be curious about, like, what does a dick feel like inside you?
Maybe I would. I don't know.
Because you don't know what it's like to have a vagina.
Nope.
Right? It might be great.
I don't understand
In
what it's
fact,
like.
I hope it's great.
I don't know what it's like to think like a female. That's primarily where I was going in this particular exchange. I was less about the dick.
Oh, okay. Then
As hard as that would be hard for Wayne to believe.
then who's the female?
I also gave that some thought.
First of all, you're gonna try someone hot, right?
yes.
Because no one wants to live like a
No,
like a
I'm
not
not going
hot.
to name names.
Exactly,
But
right?
I'm not going to name a
All right.
famous female ugly celebrity. So I did think about Tay Tay for a little while, but then I went Margot Robbie.
Yeah, no, I see where you're going with that. I don't know what her current relationship status
She's married.
is.
Margot Robbie's married.
Oh, well, fuck that then.
Well, no, the answer would be not fucking that. But anyway, or maybe it would. Maybe it would.
I might go Olivia Wilde. No, wait, Olivia. Who's the one who was with Jason Sudeikis?
Yeah.
Olivia Wilde.
Yep. And then
Yeah.
Harry
Harry Styles. You know, she gets some real good dick. So I think I would probably like if I'm gonna get some dick.
You see
I
my
would-
reasoning though?
I want the
How
perfect.
important would this be for the rest of your life to be able to understand? Oh, but that time when I get it now, I understand the way that we think a little bit differently.
I don't know if it would work because if it's your brain and her body, you're still gonna think like you.
Yeah.
So,
But hormones, man.
good point. Good point. All right, you know what? I think it would be an excellent learning opportunity to do that.
That's,
All right,
that's
fine.
how I approach the question.
All right, well then that's my answer. Olivia Wilde.
Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Tim's third question is: ever been busted jerking off or caught someone else jerking off?
Well, I've never caught someone jerking off.
Neither have I.
Okay. And I've never been technically busted jerking off, but
No.
I will tell you that there was a time, and I won't tell you when, but I was in a hotel room with about 4 other people, and I couldn't get to sleep, so I needed to jack some peen. And I had to do so in a covert manner in the darkness, silently. And it was very difficult. And in my...
Mostly I'm worried about now whether I was in that room.
Yeah, that's why I said I'm not going to tell you, Paul. You may have been you. It may not have been you. But I remember just going, all right, because I couldn't get to sleep, Paul. So I just went, all right, well, let's just...
So have some Horlicks, motherfucker.
There was no malt in the damn house, all right? Or apartment, or hotel, for all you know. And so I had to employ a methodology, because when you jack off people and it's quiet, the real sound isn't any kind of squelching that you might imagine.
Oh,
It
God.
is in fact the friction sound of the sheets.
I need beer.
The sheets going like that, okay? So what you then have to do is put pillows on either side of your hips to suspend the blanket or whatever is over you, and then jack quietly. I'm not saying if I did or didn't do it, but that's what you'd have to do.
Look, your answer's way better than mine. I was just saying,
Please.
I've never been caught, but not like I've been, put in hand in the motion of, but I've certainly maybe been looking at something inappropriate on a computer and someone's walked in the room.
Oh,
hey,
everyone's
click
done
away,
that.
click away.
Everyone's done that.
Not at home, just to be very clear.
Not at work.
Not at
Got
work.
it.
No
Got
work.
it.
Oh, God forbid.
Fair enough. Wish I could say the same. All right. So, by the way, I'm having a drink today, which I often don't do, people. So, who knows what's going to happen today.
Yeah, this could get messy real fast. All right, we're on to Chad Fackler. This is a question for you, Wayne, although I can answer it. Does Wayne actually laugh like that all the time?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the answer.
Absolutely. If I was going to manufacture a laugh to go on a show, would it be this one? Because the question or the comment we often get is, it's either I love Wayne's laugh, or I'm sorry I had to quit because I couldn't handle that laugh. And frankly, I understand both.
Yeah,
So-
I don't. We certainly had a few of those in the early days of the podcast, but not like regularly and the like.
Yeah. No, and I'm
Definitely, it's
absolutely.
more so people saying how much they enjoy the laugh and it adds to the show. So
Well, I'm comfortable with it. So, this is when you get to a certain age, ladies and gentlemen, you simply are who you are. You really can't be bothered being inauthentic or anything because it takes too much time and effort, and also you got other shit to do. So this is how it goes, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you are.
Chad added, either way, keep up the great work, guys. You are the best parts of my week. Love you, Chad. Thank you so much, Chad.
what a
We
kind
really,
thing.
really appreciate that. I wonder, do you think anyone stumbled across this, clicked on the button who's not a fan of the show? Just in case you are, we do a review podcast, a top 10 podcast. We count down 10 to 1 stuff. Usually movies, sometimes television, and occasionally music.
Yeah, take a look if you listen if you're
The
interested.
link will be in the show notes. All right. Then we're over to John Amenta from The Pint podcast. A great show in its own right. Please do check out The Pint. He and Lloyd, outstanding podcasters and individuals as well. What are some Australian Christmas traditions that maybe are unique or different than here in the US? So obviously an American there asking us a question.
Right. Well, as you may know, it's hot during Christmas over here.
Real hot.
Real hot. So one thing that a lot of white people do is they go to the beach in the morning of Christmas, which is, I imagine, something you don't do if you have a white Christmas. What about you? Do you do that?
Well, I sort of, in my answer, sort of suggested that Australia's so multicultural, it's very hard to say, like, this is what everyone does,
That's right.
first
There's
of
people
all.
like me.
But you're absolutely right. I think people do flee for the comforts of the beach if it's going to be an extraordinarily hot Christmas day. And we've had a few of those of late. I think the best by coolest Christmas day we've had in the last 5 years has been like 33 degrees.
yeah,
Which is that
Celsius.
that in itself is above the average, which is around about 30 degrees for supposedly for December.
I should mention also that the beaches in at least WA, Western Australia,
We're very lucky.
wildly awesome. I've had people who came from the French Riviera to here and gone, how come these are so good? So
Right.
who knows,
Very,
right?
very lucky.
Yeah.
A couple of years back, though, I think it was 2021's Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
It was officially 42.8 degrees on Christmas Day, which is 109 degrees Fahrenheit. That was the city temperature. And the city's in a particular place. And by the way, they measure the temperature in the shade. I don't know if that's the world standard, but they do that here in Australia.
Makes sense.
In our suburb where I was gathering at a friend's house who are English people who don't have their family here, we did the morning there. It was 46.2 degrees as Wayne knocked something off the table,
Sorry.
which is somewhere around 115 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's how high it can get here, and it's utterly ludicrous.
Yes.
So yeah, I would suggest that our traditions are stay as cool as you possibly fucking well can.
Also,
Because it's ridiculous.
most things are closed on Christmas Day here, but McDonald's is not. So that's one of my traditions. Quarter pounder with cheese.
Really? Do you do that?
A little bit. Unless I'm already full from
is it-
ham from the night before.
Brunch? Is it? No, it has to be after 11.
It's whenever I wake up. So after 11. Well, on Christmas Day. Actually, I don't even know. Yeah, it's something.
Well, look, this is not a question, but maybe it's going to answer some things that are coming later. But I'm going to come back to this at the end,
Yep.
if I remember.
Yep.
What's your Christmas Day look like?
Oh, you really want to know?
George, do you want to just tell us now?
It's great. Okay, so usually it's after the family dinner on the Christmas.
So you have a
Eve.
family Christmas Eve?
Family Christmas Eve, right?
Yep.
Always, every year. One of my sister's houses because I can't cook.
I'm not going to judge you for that.
And then Christmas Day, I usually have zero plans, and that's one of the few days of the week where you have zero plans because everything's closed mostly, so you can't go do shit, right?
Well,
You can do
this is
self-development
speaking like
if
a man
you
who's
want.
been single, but not seriously involved
Yeah.
for a long
I
time.
live alone, so there's no one here to sort of.
You're not single now.
That's true. But insofar as unmarried, yes,
Ooh,
absolutely.
actually, that's a good question. What are you
Yes.
doing this Christmas? Is
I
there
haven't
plans?
I haven't made any plans. But there's still the family thing.
Yeah,
you know?
family thing, sure.
Yeah.
But the
Actually, it might be a different Christmas. It might be a different Christmas. So
Wayne may be accountable. So where would the quarter pounder fit in?
I don't think it's gonna happen. To be honest with you, I think
Can't
they-
take her with you? Hey, baby, first Christmas get we're going to Magnus.
I don't think she'd be down.
Funny that.
Yeah, you're right. But okay, actually, you know what? That's a good point. I'm usually unattached, and so I don't know how it's gonna go this year, Paul. So I don't know how it's gonna go.
Interesting. All right. Moving on to John's second question. How much did having your daughter, Paul, make your Xmas more special for you than it was before? That's a really good question.
Your Xmas, your Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you said X's. Go on.
Oh, did I say Xmas?
No,
Sorry.
you said Xmas.
I said Xmas. Yeah,
That's right,
it's
go on.
Christmas. Look, I think that's a really pertinent question, and absolutely it did, John. Of course it did. It's funny you asked it, though, because just this year again, I was reflecting as I was writing these answers and thinking about Christmas as a whole. It's been a bit different. It's been a little bit more like a chore again, and that's because my daughter's now 10 and a half, and she knows Father Christmas / Santa Claus isn't real. But in that golden era, I want to say, of around about 5 to 6 to about 8 years old, it was fantastic. She was fully into it, believed the whole thing, writing letters to Santa, and we would obviously buy her gifts that were reflective of what she wanted from Santa, and then we'd give her a gift ourselves as well. So it was just amazing for the daughter, and then we started doing the Elf on the Shelf about 4 years ago, 5 years ago maybe, and so I had 2 or 3 years where she totally believed it was a real thing, and that was fun. And then I'm the last to bed, so I'm always the one responsible for putting the elf somewhere else, and then every so often the wife would be like, "What are you doing? You forgot to do that." And I had.
Can I ask you, do you ever have a problem with giving credit to Santa Claus after you paid for the damn present?
Oh, well, it all comes out in the wash, and it did. So eventually she asked enough pointed questions, and I just said, "Look," I started when she was probably 8. That Christmas, I was like, "Look, I will tell you if you want to know everything. That was my response. I'll tell you everything you want to know about Christmas, but are you ready for it? And
Sure.
initially, her answers were, no, I don't want to know yet.
I understand.
And then 1 year later, she said, yes, I want to know. So I told her, and she was okay, and she understood. And we just said, don't tell your friends if they still seem to believe. Don't ruin it for them.
I like.
And then this year, so that year, she still wanted Elf on the Shelf, even though she knew it was us putting it up.
Elf on the Shelf, I don't know what that is. It's a thing.
Too
Okay, it's
long.
a thing. All right. Sorry.
This year, she was like, I don't give a shit about Elf on the Shelf. She didn't say shit. And
She said fuck.
so that's why some of the magic has gone, I guess, is the long-winded answer to that question, John.
Alright,
So,
alright.
yeah. So, thank you for that one.
Fair enough.
And then, Wayne, the last one from John. Do you want to read that one?
John's was... Sorry. And finally, what Christmas films of any are on your list? On your
or I
yearly
think what Christmas
must-watch
films
list.
already are on your yearly must. I've only got one. Die
What?
Hard. It's not Christmas until I watch Die Hard. I could give two shits about every single other Christmas film. Die Hard is the winner.
Okay, so I think that a favorite Christmas movie of mine, I used to love A Christmas Story, which is a very famous one where you shoot your eye out, kid. And one that has come up recently, which I absolutely adore and no one else does, is called The Night Before. Which is a Seth Rogen and Joseph Gordon-Levitt and whatever, Anthony Mackie one. I love it. It's hilarious. It's about taking drugs on Christmas Eve. Hilarious. All right. So, but anyway, that's me. I don't know if it's.
So you watch it every.
I tend to come across it a lot. I'll be honest with you. Christmas is. I'm fine with it. Okay. But ever since I turned 6.
Bar fucking humbug.
No, I'm fine with it, and it's great. I'll just tell you this now in case it answers anyone else's question. There's that moment or that time where people always take the 3 days between Christmas and New Year's Eve off, and it results in, with all the public holidays in Australia, that you get like 10 days off, right? That is my favorite time of the year.
It's also Wayne's birthday at the arse end of that.
Oh, yeah, I'm on the 3rd. So, but like that is my favorite time of the year because literally people that you know and your friends, you get to hang out with them if they don't have families, and you have to like... people they forget the day, they forget the date. It's this wonderful small little window where you're kind of like everyone's just like happy to be in the moment, you know? The new year hasn't started yet. You're still recovering from that last bender and things like that. So I love that time. That is my favorite time of the year. We're about to come upon it. So I always celebrate that.
Awesome.
By just being myself.
All right. What is the most surprising thing? This is from Nicole Presley, a wonderful patron of the show. What is the most surprising thing you found a challenge when making a podcast? Well, you go to you first, Wayne.
I had trouble answering this one because the thing that surprised me in the early days was that how much of when you see produced content like TV shows and stuff like that or talk shows and stuff, what you think doesn't work or what you think isn't like, that was a bad show or that was a bad comment or that was a diss, whatever. It is perceived very differently often by the audience. And it's like the thing that I thought would not really be interesting turns out to be quite interesting when you look at the numbers, like our books episode, and stuff like that. So that to me showed me that I was quite out of touch with the general public, and that the public is smarter than I.
We can't predict it. I'm going to direct you to open that door again before
while
I answer.
Balls,
it's so hot in here, so you do that while I answer the same question. So look, aside from editing out Wayne's ums and ahs and rights, because Wayne ends every sentence with the word right. I just edit out 90% of them. The hardest thing about the show is finding topics.
Yeah.
100%. Like...
When you've been doing it for...
we're 452 at the time of this recording into the show. And it's really difficult. Even though we expanded the brief to be whatever we wanted, it's still hard to find topics you think we can talk about and have something to say and hopefully be mildly amusing and be entertained. And other people might know enough about / give a shit about enough that they want to tune in. So that's been the real challenge, I think. And ultimately, probably what will end the show is we've just run out of steam in terms of the topics. It's not us getting together and doing this. It's not carving out the time. It's not watching for my case, not watching the movies or the television. It's shit. What have we got to say that we haven't already said?
Yes, and I'll tell you, the perk of actually having a show like this is that when you've got your boy here, we have an excuse to see each other every week.
Yes,
right?
It's a massive thing.
And I have for friends I've known even longer than Paul that I'll see once a year because it's just how life goes, right? So getting to actually check in with each other, just even for whatever reason on that level, then that is something that, like, you literally got a record of your kind of friendship life even for that period of time. So it is it's probably a very unique kind of photo album, if you will, that no one else
That's
has.
a good way of putting it. I like it.
Yeah, so that's a surprise. It wasn't a challenge so much, but it's something we learned.
All right. Thank you. That's very kind, and I think 100% why the show will continue.
That's why,
longer
yeah.
than it
We're just talking
probably should.
shit.
What is your favorite gift you've ever gotten, Wayne?
I have an answer for this one.
Nicole.
Cool. So I'm going to show it to you. It's called an Armatron, and I got it when I was a kid. This is what it is. Sorry. I don't know if you can
Rotate
see
that
this
shit
or
out.
not.
What the fuck is that shit?
Okay, so what it is it's actually... What it is... is
Talking into the microphone.
it's
only 450. It's only 9 years of the
I
podcast.
know, that's another thing that was surprising. No one knew mic technique is shit. It is a stupid ass 80s toy, right? And it's literally like you control it with the little things, and it's an electronic arm that you can pick up shit with. By today's standards, you wouldn't even look at this. It's like, what is that weird thing? But at the time, I remember being so like excited about it because I knew my mom was getting it for me. I would draw things about it. It would be all kinds of shit, right? So, and when it finally turned up, I just like completely like midnight. We always open our presents in my house, right? So ripped it open, threw in the batteries, and I played with it for like my mom had to force me to go to bed at 3 a.m. and just do shit. And seriously, at the time, it was very cool. At the time, like people were like, "Ooh, what's that?" Now it's like, "Who are you?" So that's the one I remember. I also had a Spider-Man doll which shot actual webs, which was kind of cool. That's the only other one I can think of. Paul.
So I don't know if I can pick a favorite gift, but I can tell you the one that spawns a favorite memory. And this also addresses a question from Troy Spinner, wonderful individual who helps us with the list each week and putting it out there. And Luigi Tyrone, who is a top level patron of the show and has supported us for forever. So thank you both for this question, and Nicole as well. I was fully into the Rock Band series of games, and just this weekend, Fortnite have reintroduced this new version thereof and playing songs and whatever else, which I've experimented briefly with for about half an hour last night.
Really?
And it kind of brought me back to 15 years ago, because Rock Band 2 was quite the game for me. I just blew my mind having that plastic guitar.
Yeah.
Around the time we were learning guitar, and to sit there doing this shit and doing that, or I took it to my family Christmas that year, and there was a drum set and a microphone. And
I remember. I've been at parties like that.
so good, man. And my aunties got involved. My mum gave it a bash. My then girlfriend was playing. My cousins got involved. My brother, everyone gave it a bash, other than maybe one or two of the silly uncles, and that was quite the awesome day, I have to say. So, yeah, Rock Band 2 might well be.
That's pretty good. Beatles Rock Band was so cool, I gotta say.
Yeah, that's by that stage, sales had dropped off.
It had dropped, yeah. I will tell you this, that, Rock Band, the game, does not reward any musical skill you might have. It rewards color recognition skills. But it's still a lot of fun.
It's coordination.
Well, okay.
Yeah, because you got to, because sometimes you hit those buttons and then the. So there is. There's a firm reason I believe I'm better at chording than than some
barcodes.
Yeah, barcodes. Thank you. Can't even know the right name.
Strong hands.
Because you're learning to do that move, whereas I can't do picking guitar. Fucking I'm no good at it.
Fair enough. Okay, no, good call.
All right, moving on to the next one, which comes from Chris Yaney. No, Jeff Hartley. My apologies. No, not even Jeff Hartley. Fucking hell. Yes. One last one from Nicole. Here we go.
Yeah.
What is the one thing about Christmas you absolutely love, and one thing you wish would go away?
Well, the one thing is the 10-day break. That's the thing I love.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I wish would go away is what's commonly known in Perth as the last Friday before Christmas. So if you are out, like, kicking it, like usually at a work function or something, it typically happens on the last Friday before Christmas, and it's in the city, all right? Because we live near the city. So
we do. We're very lucky.
Yeah. So if you do happen to tie one on and get a little wasted, as is the wont, because we live in Australia, then trying to get home is literally what's commonly referred to as a cunt.
Can't be as bad as New Year's Eve. But I hear what you're saying.
I feel like if you're part of the crowd that's in the city on the Friday after, like before Christmas, right? That's the last time anyone can really go out and get wasted until with friends and with people who you can.
Are you trying to tell me you can't get wasted? Does this year Christmas falls on a Monday? Is that right?
You may be right.
I think that's right.
Yes, I think you're
People
right.
People be out in the city on Saturday night getting wasted.
But this is the thing. It's like you're already in the city because you're at work, and then you just
Oh
go
my
out to a
God.
bar right afterwards.
Oh, how hard is it for you? Jesus.
I won't
Also,
go.
how difficult is it getting home?
It's tough. It's tough. I once stayed at a cab rank, right,
Oh, my
with two of the girls from work, right, and it's like you want to be a gentleman.
Don't go to cab rank. It's called an Uber.
Even those are hard to come by, and they're 12 grand because it's Uber and everyone wants one, right? So I remember the cabs came in, and I'm like, you go,
Tough
girl,
life.
you go, girl, you go. Right? So we're giving all the girls the cabs, and then I went on to wait 2 hours for a damn cab because I'm a fucking bitch.
You're a nice guy. I think that's what we're trying
I
to say.
know, but about 1 hour 50 into that, I'm sitting there going, I made the wrong choice
You
with
could have
life.
just walked the
And then-
fuck home, man.
Yeah,
In
I
that
know.
2 hours?
I know, but when you're drunk,
You could have walked home within
drunk.
about 40 minutes.
I-
But anyway, yeah.
yeah, I probably
Right,
should have.
so what's one thing I love? I love
Please.
seeing daughter open her presents and
Oh.
then making use of her gifts,
She-
even today. So
This is the wholesome, nice answer. I'm sitting there going,
No, but the thing I hate, fucking Christmas traffic.
Hmm.
My family, particularly both sides. My dad he chooses to have Christmas at this faraway place, which is on a normal day's journey 40 minutes. On Christmas Day, fucking traffic, it's more like 70. And my mum lives even further away, and one of her sisters lives in the same area of the world. And my mum and her two sisters rotate Christmas, so that's although we've now usurped / been handballed from one. So yay is going to help on a little bit of this. But it's like if in a bad day, an hour and a half in the fucking car. And I've done some ridiculous journeys, not just currently with my wife now and my daughter, but going back dozens of years ago, or at least a couple of dozen years ago, doing like 350 Ks on Christmas Day, driving
shit.
between 3-4 different places. It's absolutely insane. And Christmas Day traffic is insane. And the roads aren't built for it. So fuck all that.
I should mention, ladies and gentlemen, even though we have nice beaches in this state, it is so big you can literally fit 4 Texases inside Western Australia, which means that the sprawl is huge, and sometimes you got to drive for goddamn hours to see people. So yeah, I get it.
All right. Jeff Hartley says, what is the best Xmas gift you loved most as a kid? Have you answered that one already?
I think I have,
You
yeah.
have? All right. I don't have any specific memories, but I do remember playing with He-Man and Masters Universe
Oh man, those were the shit.
figurines, and I was very fortunate to have both Castle Grayskull and what's it called, Snake Mountain.
Oh my god, those were so like
And
that
the
was
figurines,
expensive.
That's the ones that stick out of my mind from being a kid.
Your He-Man was classic He-Man because I had the He-Man because here's the thing with those figurines, if you twist them and let them go, they punch, right?
Yeah.
There was a He-Man which you could put 8-shot caps in the backpack that he had. So when you pulled it, went
that does ring a
snap.
bell.
Yeah, it was called Power Punch He-Man or something similar. Very odd that all of those characters and all of the figurines had really big muscles. Even Skeletor, who's a skeleton. So anyway, there you are.
That's true. He was.
He had blue muscles.
I didn't really think about that. That's really sweet.
Ah.
All right, number 2. Is there a Christmas tradition you and your family do every year?
Other than the Christmas, because we used to go to something called Midnight Mass, which is when you grow up Catholic, you wait till midnight, then you go to Mass with a whole bunch of other
So technically
Catholics.
It's Christmas.
Yep. Then you come back and you have supper at 1 a.m. All right. We have
Do you mean that the mass is over within 1 hour? Fucking hell.
or you leave within an hour. It's something like that.
Thanks, priest. I'm
Yes,
out.
yeah, I'm out. It was hard to get anyway. After a while, even your parents get like this. I'm fucking hijacking this. I'm out. and then you go. And then we have since become heathen and do not go to midnight mass anymore. We simply just have a Christmas dinner. That Christmas Eve dinner. We now do Secret Santa, which is a thing. And
Actually, my family evolved
see
to that too.
yeah, because it's just
one
like
gift rather than buying
one good gift
everybody
instead
else.
of yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and
one.
we also, this is amusing, we also have something called, we call it Jesus pie. Okay, and the reason we call it Jesus pie is it is a pie of a Eurasian sort of descent where
What's in
it's like a chicken and vegetables and sausages kind of stew kind of pie. But it comes out at every seemingly religious holiday, like Easter and fucking all that sort of shit. So we just call it Jesus pie.
Do you
now.
put sauce in it? On it?
Some people do. I do not.
I would.
Yeah. And I do sometimes decorate the top of the pie like that.
The
post I
tomato
did.
sauce / ketchup. You American?
Exactly. So yeah, that's what we do. How about you?
Look, aside from bicker, that's our tradition. No. Really, it's just the commonality is getting together. So my mother and father separated when I was 17. So we have dad's side of the family, we have mum's side of the family, and now that I'm married, I have my wife's side of the family / family. So usually the tradition at the moment is wife's parents come around on Christmas Eve, which used to be reserved when I was much younger for my dad's side of the family because my grandparents were European, so German and Polish. So we would always do Christmas Eve Christmas on Christmas Eve. And my mum's side of the family, who are Australian and English, that would be on Christmas Day, which we still do to this day. And that will come back up in an answer to another question before we get to the end. So it's really all about timing of things rather than something that has to happen there. Although I do have an aunt who makes a wonderful thing called a matchstick, which is like this
Oh yeah, I know what
pastry,
matchsticks are.
jam, and
Cream.
sort of cream and
cream in
icing sugar. Amazing. But it takes apparently a lot, Auntie Dawn. It takes a lot of effort to do, so she doesn't do it every year. And it's always a sad year where she doesn't pledge to doing it. And this year she's not pledged, so I'm even less excited about Christmas than I was.
One of our listeners, Ash, my cousin Ash, his mom does the matchstick. Usually, it's the tits. It's fucking fantastic.
Well, apparently I'm now needing an invite to the Arusian family Christmas.
We'll get you on.
All right. Ever played Santa Claus
Yes.
at an event or gathering? Asks
I got a story about this.
Jeff.
All right, so there was a 1 year, it was many years ago, I was in a bank, I was working for a bank, in the marketing team there, big marketing team, and we had our Christmas on a boat, which was on a boat, 2 boats in fact. And it was seen...
2 boats, or what? Did one boat not talk to each other?
No, the 2 boats were like next to each other, but there were so many people you had to have 2 boats.
Did you like dive in the water and go, I want to talk to that person on that boat?
You could yell and holler. Okay. But yes, it worked out that way. I believe someone, the female said to me, "You be Santa Claus," and I said, "But Santa Claus is white." And then they said,
"Did you say UB40?"
No, they didn't say you be Santa Claus. Anyway,
no, this just no credit. Wayne gets on me on the podcast not laughing loud enough. He just misses gold when it's fucking served up to him on a silver platter.
Okay, you serve up some gold, we'll talk. Anywho, I think it was seen that I was the least predatory male, so they said, you be Santa Claus. And then you know what happens when you're Santa Claus is that whenever you give the girls their gifts, they sit on your lap, right? And actually, the boys do it too, all right? But when the girls did it, they actually straddled me like that, and that was like the gag. So I had to give them all their gifts like that. And you know, it's already weird having a brown Santa Claus with the fucking the beard and the hat and the stuff like that. But that's what happened. So,
no, the weird part was when you went, I did all the gifts like that
because their face was here, so you had to do that. That was the one time it ever happened. Okay. Yeah. So,
Look,
I don't know why I told that story. Please go.
We have friends who, well, he's had kids, but they're grown up and whatever. He's a bit older. She hasn't had kids. They invite us around and a bunch of other friends around with their kids every Christmas. This year's an exception because they're overseas, so it's a real shame. But he pretends to be Santa Claus each year, and he climbs over the fence.
Bill?
Yeah, it's Bill. Bill and Rachel. So Bill climbs over the fence, and then they hand out. We pre-buy gifts for our kids and give them to Bill. He then puts them in the sacks. But then they're so insanely generous. They don't just host this party and put on food and drinks for everyone. They also put a gift in there for all the kids. They're just amazing people.
Wow.
So the kids get 2 gifts, and they needed a help. Well, Bill said, I need a elf helper. So I haven't played Santa Claus, but I played Santa's elf helper.
Wow.
Which is primarily the job is to make sure Bill doesn't fall over and break his neck on the fence when he climbs over.
He's of advanced age.
Yeah, he's a bit older than we are, so a lot older.
Wait, what's your outfit like?
Oh, I get a hat and a green felt top.
No tights.
Nah, that's it. So that's as close as I've gotten playing Santa Claus. I've not had anyone straddle me, nor me have to feed them like this. So yeah.
Fair enough.
Apparently, I haven't lived.
Fair enough. By the way, I just thought of something. The Christmas movie is kind of any Shane Black movie, but I do watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang most years.
At Christmas? Or just any time?
Anytime, but let's say Christmas it would get broken out.
All right, Chris Yini, moving on to another patron extraordinaire of the show. Chris. Thank you, Chris. He said, what was the last thing you Googled and why? Hold on to your hats.
It's surprisingly, it happened last night, Paul.
When you answered this question? Because that's when I did it. I answered from...
No, I answered this morning, so this is actually real. This is the truth.
So it was mine.
Okay. Does anyone know what moons on your fingernails are? For the record.
Calcium deficiency?
Well, I didn't even know what the moons were, but apparently on your fingernail, there should be a little kind of half circle between like where your nail meets the rest of your skin on the finger.
Oh, no, I'm talking about white marks. I don't know.
You kind of don't have any either. All right. Well, I don't have fuck all. All right. But the people I was talking to the other night. They said that that means something. So I googled.
What does it mean?
If you don't have any moons, it could be a malnutrition issue. I was eating a lot of pizza.
Well, you had one pizza, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. All right. Or depression. I don't think I'm depressed, but I think you don't know until you fucking try and kill yourself.
Okay, I see what you're talking about there.
Right, yeah, that's it, the little moon thing. Or it could be one other thing which I forgot, but I had to Google that to figure out what my problem was.
Sounds like a bunch of Sepe bullshit introduced by the West Indians
To be honest with you, it didn't, like, I don't recall having any of those conditions, so there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, how about you?
I Googled rock band in reference to an earlier question. Because I want to work out what year it was. So I was like, oh shit, which was it? So yeah, there we go. I'm pretty relieved by that answer, if I'm really honest, because how many gerbils did Richard Gere have up his ass would be a much more awkward answer to give. So yeah.
And God knows we all Google that.
What two films would you like to see combined into one? Asks Yeni.
Right. The film that I would like made from two films, is called The Empire Strikes Back to the Future. And it would involve
That's
Marty.
my vote just on the basis
You know what I'm saying? Like,
the
instead
title.
of Luke, it's Marty McFly, right? And he kind of goes through all the same shit, but then when he realizes the Empire's about to win and shit's about to go south and Han Solo's about to get frozen and all that sort of crap, he goes back in time in a DeLorean-looking spaceship, like a fucking A-Wing or something like that. Goes back, fixes the whole thing. I think it would rock.
Nice. I went with The Raid and Children of Men. Can you imagine Gareth Evans directing The Raid with the one-shots of Alfonso Cuarón?
Yes.
That would be some shit.
That's not bad. That's not bad. I would also like to see Batman v Superman done right.
Yeah. Another stab at that one?
Yeah, I'd go with that.
Number 3. What is the scariest moment of your life?
I have a really... I don't know if... Here's the thing. Anytime...
Ask us anything. Not Christmas related.
Yeah.
Not... Yes.
No, anytime something goes like really south, I think my brain blocks it out so I don't have the trauma of remembering it. I did... All right. So I'm on the Terrace, which is the business district of Perth, and I was on the edge of like kind of the road, and I was looking down the street to see how far, the bus was coming, because I was trying to take the bus. And as I withdrew from looking, another bus came this way and actually almost clipped my head. Like, it was so close, it's like that, and it went. Literally, if I had ducked back a second earlier or later, or even a split second, I would have been hit by a bus and killed, Paul. So that was like, holy shit. And the bus driver didn't give a fuck. He didn't even know I was there, right?
That's scary. That's
because
the scary
buses
part.
travel really close to the curb. So look, I should have been more, aware or whatever.
Why are we looking that way? You should go across the road to get onto that bus.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, so that was quite scary. I'm sure I've had a scarier moment, but that's the only one I can recall right now.
Yeah, I struggle with this one as well. Like, I think probably crawling under the covers when I was like 6 years old, when my parents took us to their friend's supposedly haunted house.
Oh my God.
And I heard something come into the room and covered,
We covered this on a show, didn't we?
We did. We covered it on the top 10 scariest moment. Oh, whatever it was. Yeah, something like that. Top 5 scariest moments of your life or something like that. So that one sticks to my mind. But otherwise, in a more practical kind of less existential sense, watching my brother fall out of a 2.5-story tree as the branch he was on standing on snapped and he fell to the ground, and I just had this prickle of terror encompass my eyes. I thought he's dead. So
Really?
and he broke his arm. That was the worst of it. So or fractured his arm. He didn't even break it properly. He's not even game enough to do that, Adam. Jeez.
Oh, that's tough. All right. Glad you're okay, Adam.
Yes, he's all fine. He's all fine. All right, Troy Spinner, then. If you could be known as either the creator of one TV show or the writer of one song or the director of one film, what would it be and why?
All right. I have a secret ambition. I would love to have been a director. I'd love to, like, when I see really great trailers, And I think to myself, fuck, that would be cool if you created something so amazing. The latest fantasy I've had is there's a movie that hasn't even come out yet, Argyle. I looked at that trailer and I'm
Matthew
like,
Vaughn?
this may be one of the best trailers I've ever seen.
Disagree.
Fucking hell. All right. And I've actually seen like an interview with Matthew Vaughn where he said everything in that trailer is from the first 30% of the film.
Oh, that's cool.
There are
That's
no-
cool. That's
Yeah,
lovely.
and he said that was his rule that he made with the studio when they said do it.
Nice.
Right? And like if you look at that trailer, right, it's just so cool. And it's like from the twisted mind of Matthew Vaughn as Henry Cavill and Dua Lipa are dancing. And I'm like, it would be so cool if that said Wayne Aruzu. So I have a little, it's a weird thing because I don't even know if the movie's good. It hasn't come out yet. But I would love to have been the director of that. That would be a cool thing to show people.
I thought it was a great question, not at all easy to answer.
No.
I don't think a song for me, because I'm not as musically inclined as I am visually. And as much as I would love to, like you've described, be the director of a really amazing film, I think the director, unless you're an auteur or you are doing something really indie that doesn't have studio backing, it's not your vision. You are probably, even if you write and directed it, you still got the producers coming in and weighing in. So I went with TV show.
Oh.
Because generally speaking, if you're the creator of a TV show, it is your vision. Now, there's still other people, don't get me wrong, impacting upon it. And I went, well, what's my favorite TV show of all time? Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was going to turn
So
up.
that would be my answer. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, of course. I would hope not to be in the position that Joss Whedon is now, because I wouldn't be. But if we go back to that, like to be that person who created that show and made such an impact on the cultural zeitgeist, and then you're writing your ticket forever. I mean, this guy got to direct Marvel films. He got to try to resurrect the flailing DCEU. But imagine if he wasn't the person that clearly he's become. If anyway, that's irrelevant to this discussion, you could parlay that into being one of the greatest careers ever. And he also co-wrote Toy Story too. So but anyway, I'm saying the person.
No.
Great Buffy
Your
the Vampire
creative
Slayer?
crush absolutely is the guy
Holy
you're going to
shit.
be in. By the way, if I wrote If You Leave Me Now by Chicago, I'd be happy about that too. I think that's one of the best songs ever written. There you go. That's the one, yeah. All right.
Favorite Christmas memory. I think I covered this one. Have you covered that one too?
I think so.
All right. So from Julio Oliveira Mendoza. From the Off the Contrarians fame. What's the best memory? Okay, so Wayne and I made a film 25 years ago.
Never go away.
What's the best memory and the worst memory each of you have from making Reap? Wayne, take it away.
All right. So the best memory, for the record, we were on location at a beach house somewhere quite remote called Ledge Point in Perth. And we shot all the way through the night, all the way through the day. We had to black out things on the curtains so we could have the light, all that sort of thing.
We slept, but
not
much.
much, right? And we were young back then, so we didn't need sleep.
So you could get away with it.
Exactly. There was a moment during shooting where we were sort of drunk tired, where you're so tired that you're a little bit like, we weren't ever drunk, but we were fucked up, right? So, and then when that happens, something that I like to call just unexplained hilarity happens, where you start laughing for no
Is
reason.
that where someone farted?
Well, what happened was someone did fart because it was all dudes in a house, and there's no way that no one farts in that situation. And there was actually footage of someone farting, and then the cameraman, like, imagine this: the frame is like this, and his hand was like, "Argh!" Right? But this was adjacent to that. You guys were shooting a scene in another room, and we were on standby. And apparently, on films, that's very common. It's a lot of waiting around. So me and Richard McGuinness.
Shout out to Richard.
Yeah, shout out to Richard. Were in another room, and there was a lot of beds and couches in that room, and I don't know what I belched. I didn't fart. I belched, but it was pretty good, right? It was very bassy and guttural, right? And then he just started laughing, and then I started laughing, and then Paul said action, and we had to try and hide our laughter. And so we had to run into a bed and bury our head into it. And it's for some reason the thing I remember about that time. So yeah, that was a pleasant memory of making a movie, the one and only movie we made, which you will never
That's not
see
true.
because
We made
it's
the family as well. But anyway,
oh, that's right, the other one.
what's your worst memory of that whole exchange?
The worst memory was that we discovered that making movies is really difficult. Because I remember one time it was like, Paul, we had to shoot like a lot of dialogue. Paul had written a feature-length film, which means there's actual dialogue. And
It's 82 minutes long.
that's feature-length, right?
Well,
These days it's like
back in
8 hours.
1998 it was.
Exactly, right? And so much so that there was like just dialogue you had to nail out, right? And I remember Paul was saying like, okay, we're gonna have to sit here and nail all these pages of dialogue, and I wasn't in those scenes, so I was like, oh well, I'll go get some fucking snacks, right? So me and someone else left, right, and we just fucked around or whatever. We just took like an hour to get back, or 2 hours even. By the time we came back, like, those guys must have moved on to another scene by now. You were halfway through those pages, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is gonna be hard."
That ties into my worst memory. So
because the fact that we had figured we would stay there for a weekend and do the whole shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
And it turns out we didn't. We only got half of it done.
So, all right,
Please,
if I may
jump in.
from there. I'll just go straight to the worst. I thought the worst, to be honest, was exactly that. I thought it was the fact that somewhere around, I want to say a day and a bit in, it became wildly apparent we had underestimated the amount of time that would take to get something that was acceptable, which is hilarious when you see the final product. But we were out of time. And so my best memory, Wayne, becomes when we had to sit down and have that conversation, which I think was from memory around 3 a.m.
Yeah.
on the Saturday night. So
Yep.
we got there on the Friday. We were shooting some on the Friday night, slept, got up, as you said, put like garbage bags over all the windows to simulate, which works, by the way. There's not one single person who ever watched this movie who's gone, that looks fake at night.
Exactly. That's
It's
on the night.
absolutely is, but it
Yeah.
made it hot. Hot in that house. And we had to sit down and I had to say, look, we're not getting this done. What are we going to do? I'm so sorry. I have led you all astray for all intensive purposes, and I'm really sorry. And there was this moment where everyone just said, all right, we'll come back, man. What's the problem?
Yeah.
What's
And we
the
had
problem?
to double the budget and come back another
Yeah.
months later.
It wasn't that long later. I'm
Yeah.
not sure exactly when it was, but it was a few weeks later, maybe 2-3 months later. I honestly can't remember. If you think it's a month, I will
don't
side
know.
with you.
Yeah.
But no one blinked an eye. No one was like, fuck you, Paul, or screw this shit. And there was this moment of like, I realized these are my friends for life. This gang of, this crew of people.
Oh, that's a nice memory.
And it's 100% the truth because they're all still my friends, I'm privileged to say, to this day. So it was really special.
I should mention we were 23 and time was cheap back then.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that helps. Don't get me
That
wrong.
helps.
So everyone came back, we shot it, we got it finished. And then the worst memory, though, which has outstripped that memory of, oh my God, we're not going to be able to finish this, was we were 6 months into editing this thing, 6 fucking months. And we were doing it on basically a Commodore Amiga.
Amiga. So it wasn't a
called
Moviola.
a Casablanca, which was owned by friend to the show and our friend Brett. His uncle was a videographer. So he had this tech freely available. He was kind enough, very generously, to allow his nephew and his scaly mate to come in.
What year was this?
1999.
Okay, so this is the late 90s, everyone.
Yeah,
There was no fucking Apple iMovie shit. You could do it on your phone.
Unbelievable what you can do today versus what you
And you lost a generation every time you did an edit because you were actually shooting on beta on Super VHS. Yeah.
And so we were entering it all into the Casablanca and loading it on there, and then we were trying to find the best take, and sometimes there was 7 or 8 or 9 takes, and you're having to find and isolate that and then edit it. Anyway, it took 6 months to get halfway through the film, and then it crashed.
Oh shit!
And it
I remember
crashed,
this.
and we went on this mercy fucking dash across Perth. We went to 2 different places. Both of them said the same thing. The hard drive is gone. It's wiped. It's finished. So we hadn't destroyed the Casablanca. It still worked fine because I don't remember.
But you lost all your work.
It was that was super expensive tech at that time. And my initial thought, other than gutted about the result of this, was, what if we've broken Brett's uncle's Casablanca? So we started again, and we got the whole. So it took 6 months to edit half the film. We got the whole thing edited in 4 months because we learned a lot in that first 6 months. But again, there was a moment where Brett and I had to look at each other and go, "Fuck, are we doing this? Or are we going to waste all the efforts that we put to this point in time?" And yeah, we got it done, and it did come out. Yeah, I think, geez, was it early 99? Maybe I'm mixing up. Maybe we shot 97, 98 was the editing. Early 99 it premiered. So yeah.
Do you know that? Even though I wasn't part of that thing, it was during those years where I decided that the problems I would choose to deal with if I could would be creative challenges as opposed to like life stuff like having kids and so on. Because it was like, as horrible and as like soul crushing as those moments can be, it is still your choice to go, well, do we just pull the plug? And
Yeah, and we could have pulled the plug. All right, moving on to the second question then from Julio. If you had to give up your Australian citizenship and residence, what country would you adopt as your new home?
It was always going to be San Francisco in America.
It's got to be English speaking, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because we're too old to try and learn a new language.
That's right. But like I think America's a little tough these days.
Oh, that's exactly my answer.
You know?
I said US, but maybe
I
not now.
always wanted to live in the US. I'm like, God, this place is amazing. Look at all
Trump
the stuff.
gets reelected.
It's just like and like I have like such fond and like hopeful wishes for all of our American listeners. I still actually think it's going to work out okay somehow. All right. But yeah, that wouldn't be it. So I haven't been a lot of other places like Paul. I haven't been to Europe yet, so I don't know if there's this perfect European Italian town that I might love.
You've not seen The Equalizer 3? Yes, you have.
If that's the case, I'm not going there, right? But the only other place that I thought might be cool, and I haven't been there, so I could be wrong, is Amsterdam.
Can't imagine. Can't imagine why. I was like, well, if it's not the US, maybe New Zealand.
Fuck off. I mean,
Yeah, well,
possibly.
exactly. I'm like, no, fuck that. I'm not giving Sam Hurley and all his scaly mates all the...
Exactly. He'd be
all
like,
the-
yeah, no wonder
the
you came
points
over
for
here,
that
you
shit.
Aussie piece of shit.
So
Yeah.
I guess somewhere in the UK would be my answer.
Anyone
Somewhere where you would visit, because probably somewhere that's got some nice accents, because otherwise you wouldn't come.
Oxford.
Chase some tail.
Yeah.
If you were single again.
So London? Around the central bit there, or are you going the English
Is it-
countryside?
if you want Oxford specific accents, then all right.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Go there.
Have you ever, Wayne, says Julio,
Yeah.
had Christmas sex? Why or why not?
All right, I'll tell you. All right. A long time ago, when I was a youngster, I used to work for an arcade. It's called Time Zone. Okay, and I had a manager who was something of a hound dog, Paul. And he used to say to me, I was 19, and he would say, "Hey, have you lined up a Christmas route?" Now, for the record, for you Americans, route in Australia means intercourse. And like,
Sex, Wayne. Just say sex.
fine, sex, okay? Have you had a root? Did you get a root? That's, by the way, how boys in Australia talk. I remember Paul once said to me, "Hey, dude, did you get a root?" And I went,
Did I?
"Yeah, no, we did because
Not this
we were
side
young.
of
We were
30.
very young. We were
Yeah,
very
yeah.
young." And you said, "You're like, hey, because I think we had gone out one night and he had seen me with whoever I was with then. Did you get a root that night?" And I went, "No." So so that's the thing, right? So his whole thing was that he said you got to line up a Christmas route, right? And I had to that point not really lined up any at all. So the idea of the sex Christmas, which is I imagine what actually is what this question is about, is that. And so the answer to me as well is yes, there was a year where I met a girl on Christmas night, because her family was not there. I had never met her before. And all I will say to you is that we met on the beach. That's all I'll tell you.
Christmas night, first date.
It was very unusual. And there you are. Also, that whole thing about having sex on the beach is bullshit because sand gets right in your crack. So I've been told.
Any further proof of the difference between Wayne's life and I? There it is, right there. Meeting someone on Christmas night.
It happened once and it was a long time ago.
My response, to that question is, look, I'm married. We've got a kid. I don't think it's happened in that era. Probably happened before, but
Paul
I
has a
don't,
much more respectable
I don't
life.
remember, to be honest. So it wasn't significant enough. But it's pretty hard once you've had children, I think, to because it's about them at that particular.
Actually, I have a
point in
question
time.
about that. So, because you're obviously taking care of your kid, like we are always, and then Christmas night, it's all about the kid, right?
But it's also about being exhausted because you've gone and done 1, 2, 3 family functions in the last 24 hours. In my case, if you're lucky enough to only have to go to the one, then yay you. But yeah, for us, I just want to go to bed. / I just want to get some sleep. / I just want to shoot someone on whatever game I'm playing. So yeah.
Video games become so important when you become an older man because it's just the one thing you can do to disengage and like, even if you have the option of sex, sometimes you're too tired. And that's something that if you tell your 19-year-old self, they'd be like, "What?" Right? So, in your face, 19-year-old Wayne.
Just be like, you're young. It's got to 54 minutes of this recording, but anyway. All right,
Okay.
So let's move on. Richard Sims. So, what famous person, living or dead, would you most like to hang out with for a day?
Okay, Jesus.
That was going to be my initial
Really?
answer. Because I want to know whether or not this whole shit's real.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I would particularly hang out with him during that whole water into wine wedding that he went to.
I'd just be like to hang out with him a day after he was resurrected, to be honest.
He might be a bit sleepy. But okay, yeah. I mean, like, I'm just...
Just like, hang on,
yeah.
if you were real and you've been resurrected from the dead, this is proof positive.
Yeah,
that there's
I
life
need to see a
after.
miracle. I need to see a miracle. And then we'll talk, Jesus. All right, about me being a believer. Because I was brought up very, very staunchly Catholic. And
That's amazing. We had the same thought.
oh my God,
I deleted mine and I went with this. Look, George R.R. Martin. So I could get a fucking cattle prod and I could stick it in his bulbous ass every time he's not working on his books. George, fucking write them.
Paul's still offended by not
12
having the...
years, Wayne.
Yeah.
How long does it take if you... Fuck.
I believe even I would have written the book if I was George R.R. Martin by now. 12 years.
12 years.
And it's not like he's a spring chicken.
Look, that's probably offensive. So then I said, as my backup answer, Quentin Tarantino, because I'd love to know how he made it, how a video store clerk got connected in Hollywood. And, you know, there's biographies and whatever, but I want to hear it from the man himself. And I'd have to ask every female around me to put their shoes on. But otherwise, I would absolutely do that.
You know, I've always had a secret thought about you and your writing. Apparently, there's a way into Hollywood where you just write a script that you're really happy with, and that if you just pass that to enough agents in Hollywood, or it's usually one, he'll shop that around for you, and then there's a bidding war for that thing, which has happened for a few things.
Yeah, well, there's a guy. Don't think he'll be on a show, but Cadaver Casts, Jeff. He's got one of the hottest unproduced scripts.
Really?
Yeah, on the blacklist in Hollywood.
Really? Really? Have we heard anything?
Look, last I heard, I thought maybe it had been optioned, but I'm not sure. So,
wow.
All right. And the last question here from Richard Sims is, second question. How did each of us, come to realize Santa wasn't real, and how old were we?
I don't recall an actual moment where I thought this is bullshit. So I think I just, because it's just been so long ago, I couldn't really tell you the age, but I would hazard a guess. It was like 7 at the latest.
Oh, okay. So you were early. I reckon I was 7 to 8.
When I was 9, I remember knowing it wasn't the case. So yeah, it was that. But I don't recall being disappointed or anything. I just kind of understood that the world was the way it was.
Well, as mentioned, my family did Christmas Eve at my father's side of the family, and that was, 15-minute drive away. We'd go there, and there were the presents from Santa Claus. And then we'd go home, and the next morning there would be the presents from Santa Claus. And then we'd go to my mum's side of the family for Christmas lunch / dinner, and there would be the presents from Santa Claus. And eventually I said to my parents, Santa's got a lot of ground to cover. The world's a big place. Why is he flying 3 times to Perth to do this? And my dad said, don't tell your brother.
Oh my God. So you just straight up folded. Yep. All right. Because I remember I was actually given a reason. He said, look, I know you're told Santa Claus, but he has people.
Right.
Like he actually has an agency in every city in the world.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that makes sense. You have to diversify and you have to fucking decentralize. So anyway, there you are.
And his last question, as an American, I find Aussie bogans to be fascinating. What's your funniest bogan story?
Okay, I got one. I was once privy to a conversation from, first of all, Americans, bogans. I would say the closest facsimile to a bogan in your,
redneck.
Yeah, redneck. It would have to be redneck. Except in Australia, the bogans also have investment properties. I'm not really sure why.
Because they make money from mining.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. All right, so it's essentially a rough-sounding Australian. For example, I'm fairly sure that there will never be an Australian Bond villain because you just can't sell that. Well, 007, I've got a fucking laser here pointed at the fucking moon, and I'm gonna blow the cunt. So it'll be like that. So. Anyway, my bogan story is that I heard an account that a bogan was telling of an encounter with his girlfriend, where it's the terminology he used which made it bogan. He said that he was on the job in the middle of the act and going very fast. She was lying down flat on a table. He was standing up. Okay? He was going hard at it, and then he said, turns out this motor's got a 5th gear, which means that he started going faster, all right? And then what happened was he accidentally was going so fast that he pulled out completely and then went back in. Now, when you pull out, he said, it turns out your penis drops about 1 inch. And then when you went back in, yes, his exact terminology was, I missed the primary target and bombed a church.
Oh my.
Yeah, all right. So that's oh, look at the camera's all gone weird now. All right, here we are. Okay.
Too much movement.
Yeah, too much movement. So that is the funniest encounter I could probably come across.
I don't know if I've got really anything, although you have a theory, which is to say there are no bogans, just people like us who get increasingly drunk / rowdy and then act like fuckwits.
No, there are bogans, but like when you wake up that way and
Friend of the show, Christian, and one of our good mates, he once emceed a wedding where it was catered for by KFC.
Really?
He was the best man or MC, I can't remember, at the wedding.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. KFC was brought in, and that's a good sign that you're pretty much a bogan as far as I am concerned.
I should mention I quite like KFC.
Mike Margosian, another patron of the show. Everyone who's asked questions today is patron of the show. How freaking weird is it to celebrate Christmas when it's 90 degrees Fahrenheit, i.e. 32 degrees centigrade for you guys?
I've never known anything else.
Standard
I
for
came
us.
to Perth when I was 1. So every Christmas, I've never had a white Christmas, and I would love to.
Yeah, well, you can get on a plane and do that shit.
I think I should but here's the thing: like I've been places where it snows. It just never snowed when I was there. The closest I've been to actual snow.
Come to Japan with us, Wayne.
Okay.
I will guarantee you snow.
I want either an English or an American white Christmas.
Japan's pretty good.
Is it?
That's all I'm saying.
All
I mean,
right,
I
well-
don't know about Christmas unless you go to North Hokkaido. But anyway,
The closest I got to snow was in a place called Durango in Colorado, where I was like in the town, and on the mountain top I could see the snow, but it wasn't near me, so I couldn't make it.
you got to experience it, man. Got to experience.
I know. So anyway, please tell me.
So
Paul.
for me, my daughter just the other day was saying how weird it is that Christmas is hot here because she consumes so much YouTube content from the Northern Hemisphere, particularly Northern America, and she sees snow everywhere. She's like, why is this not working? So
That's a very Australian thing, by the way, getting imported American culture and then wondering why.
yeah,
it's
so
not
she
the
probably agrees with you there, Mike. What type of alcohol did you get sick from that you have never touched again?
I have like almost this. Like when I was 18, I was held down on a pool table by a bunch of girls, right? And they poured Southern Comfort down my throat.
Skull and thump it.
So yeah, and it was if you've ever had that, it's like I think they call it a whiskey, but it's not. It's like a liqueur, and it's sweet as shit. And I didn't mind it at the time. But then
Mostly being held down by girls bit.
But it's hard to be cool in that situation, so not really. Anyway, I got drunk off it, fine. But then ever since that day, I couldn't even smell it without kind of throwing up. But then, about 10 years ago, I encountered it once more, and I said, usually I can't even smell it, but let's give it a try, right? So I did it, and I think I had it with lemonade or something, with what you would call Sprite, Americans. And then I put it away, and I was like, oh my God, it tastes like 17. And so now I like it again. I even put on some Jazz aftershave to complete the whole thing. So yeah, so that's my answer, Paul.
Mine was Cougar.
Oh fuck!
I'm not allowed to drink Cougar, but
No, you're not.
Because
When-
I got aggressive and nasty and like a complete prick a
And
couple of times, and rightfully so. Rightfully so, I was told. No more from Wayne and co. So.
No, but here's the thing. I've actually heard that this is not an isolated problem to you.
Oh, okay.
I've heard that people say Cougar bourbon, which is shit, by the way.
It was terrible. That's what we drank as
That's why
18,
it's cheap.
19.
It's cheap. It's cheap.
I want
We're
to be clear
kids.
here. It's not like it's in the last 25 years.
No,
this
no.
was
I-
pre-23
I don't even know if Cougar bourbon's still around.
Probably not.
Yeah. But I've heard that that is many people's like sort of like aggro
It's like
drink.
Stella Artois in Europe.
It's still Artois shit.
Well, it's widely renowned as the domestic violence beer.
Is it? But it's supposed to be so classy.
Well, here it's classy because they export it the same way Foster's is classy,
Foster's.
and it's a piece of shit beer.
Foster's no one drinks that shit here. So yeah.
And then last question to me, what would Paul do if his daughter became a huge lover of musicals and wanted to watch them all at the same time? My answer, Mike, to that is I would say the same thing to her that I say to her when she refuses to support my football team. Where are you going to live next weekend? No, look, obviously reality, she's allowed to like what she likes, and I fully endorse that. And I would be glad if she liked something enough to want to watch it. But when it comes time to share the television, as per previous discussion, she would have to turn that shit off because I'm not watching it with her. So I think that's probably fair to say.
Nice one.
Jason Barr said, do you both have any traditions you strictly follow? I think we probably answered
I think we covered that one, yeah.
one. Second question, how much ass does Wayne eat during the Christmas parties?
Not that much except that time on the beach. By the way, if anyone's just come across this, there's a lot of like Wayne eats. I say eat my ass on the show. People think I actually eat ass, and that's true sometimes. So
Luigi Tyrone, what's your favourite Christmas memory? I think we've addressed that one as
Yep.
well. Thank you.
Yep.
Top level page of the show. Thank you so much, Luigi, for your support. Now we're going to wrap it up with a couple extra questions here from Nicole, but we are running long, so we're not going to do them all. Wayne, we've got like 7 more questions here from Nicole. It's lovely. Which one do you want to do? Give me 3. Let's do 3.
Okay. Nicole says, what kind of gifts do men like to receive from women for Christmas?
That's a tough one.
I love gift giving, and I'd be interested to know the male perspective of what stands out. Okay, so Nicole, other than the standard hand shandy, I would say that, because giving sexual favors is probably not the same thing. So I would say that for mine, right, I believe that the best gifts to receive are things you always wanted but would never actually buy for yourself, okay? And thereby, you get the thing you want without ever having to actually go through the guilt of having paid for it. So for me, it's lightsaber, okay? Like, if you have there's these cool lightsabers, and they cost like $200 or $300, right?
Man, you go to Disneyland, you can book a time there.
I already researched this. You're talking about the cave that you go in with the lightsaber. Those aren't the best.
They're not the best?
No, a really good lightsaber
has
a really good lightsaber has something called tip drag.
Kyber crystal.
and that. No, tip drag is where you drag it along the floor or the wall, and the top end of it like gets white. It goes like that. I mean, that's some high-end shit, okay? And also it changes color when you do this, right? So that would be mine, but I imagine
also, that's
the
what
people
the
you
does.
date and the men you know are a lot cooler than me. So it's probably not indicative of the set. Paul, do you have an answer?
Look, I didn't, because I don't think I've ever had a partner just put a ribbon around himself and say...
No, I haven't either.
No, so I guess I look, I think what Wayne said, if you can find something that your partner hasn't bought and wouldn't, but we're lucky enough, or I'm lucky enough to be at a stage in life where if I really want something, I just go and buy it.
Whereas I feel guilty about buying a lightsaber.
It's impossible. I don't want a lightsaber, quite clearly.
I'm not saying it'll never happen.
It's impossible to buy for my father, who's even more exponentially into that. So we just end up buying him a voucher and saying, here, Dad, fucking do whatever.
And I don't have any problem with that. Some people say that's a thoughtless gift. It's not.
You can't buy the individual, and not to say my dad's Elon Musk or anything like that, but he's worked very hard in his life. He's done well in his life, so he just goes and gets what he wants because he can afford to. Exactly. So how are you supposed to buy that person a gift?
Yeah.
So sorry, that's a really shitty answer, Nicole, but I don't have much more than that. Let me ask this one: other than movies and shows, what is the one other interest the two of you share?
I had a real hard time answering this.
I did initially, then I got it.
Why don't you start?
Music, guitar.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Look, we don't do it that much anymore because our time is dedicated to the show and this kind of stuff. But there was a period of 5-7 years where we would, maybe 8-9 years, where we would just jam. We would just
gather and jam.
I'd be terrible and Wayne would be good, and he'd try to teach me how to fix
true. We were all just kind of like, we were both like kind of crappy at it.
Wayne's, as you can tell from our jingles, Wayne is much more musically minded / gifted than I am.
Only slightly.
I just fucking ride those coattails as hard as I can. So.
You know, I was thinking this. Back in the day, kids, there was something called LAN, which is Local Area Network Gaming.
Yeah, gaming too.
Before you could go online and just dial up your friends who were in a different country and then play fucking Fortnite or whatever it is with them, you had to bring your fat-ass computer with its big goddamn CRT monitor to someone's house, link up all 10 or 7 of them with like LAN cables, and then play that game. So we used to, something we have in common is we do kind of like gaming, although Paul's much more into it than I am.
I'm more online gaming, Wayne's more.
Yeah, I'm actually so bad that I can't play online because I'll just get fingered every single time.
I am currently in the top 0.1% of Fortnite players in the world.
See, I didn't even know it was like this, and so we don't really do it anymore.
I know, it's 48-year-old against a 12 and 10.
I only play co-op so that the person I'm playing with who is good actually helps you.
Yeah.
So there you are. She has one more question which I think we should answer.
Go on, you pick one.
What is your advice for surviving the long-ass plane ride
I got that one.
from the States to Australia? I want to visit one day, lol, but the journey sounds uncomfortable, and you are correct, Nicole.
Well, first of all, should you wind up here in Perth, any of our hardcore listeners, let us know, because we'd love to catch up for a drink and say thank you for your support of the show.
Absolutely.
But look, I have two
Paul's more
strong recommendations. Having just flown the longest plane flight in the world, which is New York to Singapore, longest commercial plane flights, 19 hours and potentially 50 minutes if the winds are against you. We were lucky enough that it was closer to about 18 and a half hours. But it is simple. 1, have drugs you can take that allow you to sleep for 7 to 8 hours. For me, it's rest of it. Don't recommend that to everyone. This is not a medical podcast, but check
It's over
with
the
your
counter
doctor.
at least. Yeah.
It's over the counter, so there's nothing too habit forming or serious. And 2, the best possible noise cancelling headphones you can buy. It's a huge investment. I've got some really good ones. I'm very, very pleased with them. They do an absolute bang up job. It makes all the difference. And then, yeah, they're the 2 main things. The third thing is, I can't afford to fly business class. We can't afford, but if you could, great. That will help you out a lot. If not, premium economy is better than it's in the in-between. That really helped as well.
There's some business classes where it turns into a bed.
In fact, that flight I talked about, it's only premium economy and business class. You can't fly just regular economy. So they make it so that everyone on the plane has that extra level of comfort.
What's the plane? Is it one of those Airbus thingies?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But
Yeah, okay.
basically every seat on the plane is either a premium economy or economy class.
Cool. I have sort of similar tips. My first tip, though, is get an iPad or some sort of tablet with as much local content as you can. Do not trust the airline.
Nope.
I once flew from fucking American Airlines, which is shit. All right? Or at least the plane I had was shit. And I flew from Sydney to LA, which is a good 16, 15, whatever hours, right?
It's about 14.
Yeah, I get on the plane, right? To be fair, it was a pretty inexpensive flight, but still, all right? I sit down, and I'm like, there's no screen in front of me on the seat. And the only screen is like balls far down the front of the, which you have to somehow look at from there, which I couldn't see, right? So I had to fucking read books like a bitch, right? Like they did in World War II, okay? And I would say that don't trust the airline. Have all your local content in there, and especially entire seasons of shows you always wanted to get to, because that's when you knock them out, okay? Then, yes, drugs. I have been told that Valium is very popular with housewives in the 50s.
Valium is also very bad for you.
Is it bad?
Do not take Valium.
Yeah, some chick told me about Valium, and I'm like, I've never had it, right?
Valium
So
is extremely habit forming, and the
Is
views
it?
of Wayne Arusu do not reflect the Countdown podcast,
Again-
nor indeed all affiliates
again,
thereof.
I've never had it. So there's that.
Don't take medical advice from this piece of shit show.
No, don't do that. And then my final tip is, if you can possibly spank it right before the flight, do that, because, then you're more likely to be
Hard as
sleepy
it is to
later.
believe that Wayne doesn't do it on the flight after his previous discussions. Look, I think that's probably enough for today. It's gone immensely long, and
Yes.
that's our fault because we haven't done this regularly enough, and we do pledge to do it more for you patrons, more regularly.
Most def.
Do it more for you. Do it more regularly for you patrons who are contributing at this level, which we really, truly do appreciate. Been some amazing questions, and we hope that we have answered them to your.
Thank you for sticking around this long, by the way. This is such
And this
a long
is a big one. We're going to need to get this out before Christmas, Wayne. So
I'll take care of it.
Yep. I don't think there's going to be a lot of editing involved. It will
No,
just be a bit of
none in
graphic
fact.
start and
Yes.
the like. So what a video in terms of the. I can't believe we've gone for an hour and 13 minutes. I'm stunned, to be honest. And if you're still listening, I'm even watching. I'm even more stunned that you would stick with us this far. Thank you so much.
We love you.
For everything you do for the show. You are the lifeblood of it. And we might still catch up and play guitar or talk shit, but we certainly wouldn't catch up and be able to share what we do without you all. So thank you so much. Have a great Christmas if you celebrate. Have a great New Year's if you celebrate. Have a great festive season and the best start to 2024 possible. We'll be back hopefully in the first 3 months of 2024 with more of this shit. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Paul,
I'm Wayne.
and we are the Countdown Podcast. We'll catch you later.
See you guys.